Yeah. So what's on your mind? What are the questions you're struggling with, and how can we help?
Okay, well, I was thinking about starting a community, um, uh, and I'm not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I my questions are now not as kind of important, but
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited about the Liberator, just in general, and I'm still quite interested potentially in
Yeah.
starting some kind of business around it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still super curious about it all.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it felt like there was a lot of information online about it, but at the same time, it wasn't easy information to process, or
Yeah.
it wasn't the right information, or just not all my questions were answered. So I thought I'd better try and talk to you to get that kind of aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess one question was just, is it ready for enterprise use?
Okay. So depends what kind of enterprise. If it's a production of machines, no. If it's a
Mhm.
production of block, yes. That will be
Okay.
my short
Yeah.
answer. In other words, the machine is 5,000 blocks per 8 hour shift.
Yeah.
Run it
Okay.
24
Cool.
7.
Yeah.
Got $15,000 worth of value at a very low cost selling point of the brick itself. People sell block for, I mean, they go for a few dollars if they're stabilized. Unstabilized, I'm not sure if anybody's selling that, but I do know that each block costs 1 cent in gasoline for the power cube
Yeah.
or tractor to run it. But you're talking
Yeah.
about a valuable product. Now, if you do unstabilized, if you do stabilized, it'll cost you, I think it goes up to 20 cents per block.
Oh.
So that
Yeah. I mean, I'm more interested in the unstabilized. I really don't want to be using concrete for anything if we don't have to.
you don't have to, as long as there's two ways to do it. One is if you're in a dry place, and two, if you're in a wet place like us, what we would do here, and this is what we will be building, probably 6 months from September. We're going to start on CBs, where the model that we're building right now, we're building stick because we're just setting the enterprise up, and it's the CB is much
Hmm.
harder. But
Hmm.
if we build it in a wet climate, we're building a cover first. So we're going to put up the roof first on posts and
Oh,
then
yeah.
infill underneath. So that would be the technique for wet climates.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, here it's not wet, as in there's a wet season or anything. It's more it rains on and off, but it's mostly dry. Um, is
Mm-hmm.
it the kind of thing where if it might rain at all, you'll need a roof up first,
Well, I mean,
or is it
so
just for
so
huge amounts of
logistics.
rain?
What are the logistics of the brick pressing operation? It's if you've got
Yeah.
the bricks, say in a shed or something. I
Yeah.
mean, well,
Oh,
they're out of the
yeah.
rain. If they can get rained on, they'll survive. I mean, it's a huge mess, but they can't get
Yeah.
soaked, right?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
If you are building with them, and it starts to rain, you can, like, say the wall is up. I mean, you drape it over with something.
Yeah.
It's doable. It's doable, but you just need to be mind that this is earth, and earth and water
Yeah.
equals mud.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Cool. All right. And another question would be, do you have information from engineers about the blocks that we could use to get permits here for
No, not from
planning and
engineers,
building
but
and
back
stuff?
back in 20, 2008 or so, I did some my own testing using
Hmm.
a press, and I got data anywhere from uh, 300, 300, 700, and 1100 psi. 1100 was for stabilized, but we got up
What was
to
it? 300?
psi.
Yeah, yeah. But what were the numbers? 300
Yeah,
and
700 for between 300 and 700 for unstabilized, and up to, I believe it was like 1100 for stabilized. We did
sure.
some stabilized ones.
Yeah.
There's a blog post early
Um,
on. I can dig it up for you if you want.
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I don't know exactly what is needed. I don't know if it needs to be from an engineer. It probably needs to at least have your company certified that that's what the PSI is or something like that. Is that something that you guys could do?
We can we can submit what we have. Whether they're
Yeah,
gonna pay attention to it or
yeah,
not
yeah,
is that's
yeah.
the
Fair
second
enough.
question.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
we can
All right.
definitely send you. Hi, back in 2008, we did this and such. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's documented on a blog post. So
yeah,
there's that data there. If
yeah,
they now if they're savvy, if they know what they're doing, I mean they'll be able to
yeah.
tell if it works. But if they're being bureaucrats, you're gonna
I mean, that's the
get
thing.
canned.
The councils will be bureaucrats about it.
Yeah, and
I might need to. We might need to get our own testing done by independent engineers or something
yeah,
like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just thought I'd check.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you do, I mean that would be share that with us because the goal
yeah,
is
of
okay.
course.
Once you test this
Yeah,
enough and you've got a lot of
yeah,
data points, people start to believe it. But just right now, it's hard because nobody does it.
totally.
Where are you going to get the data?
Yeah, I know, and so that's the other question I really wanted to ask is like, why is it not being used?
That's the question I've been asking myself
Are you sure? Okay.
very seriously since about 2011 when I got on a world stage at TED. And
Yeah.
why it went, it was going, it was going, and it kind of collapsed in some way. I mean, the
Hmm.
point is, at a certain point, it's hard, rigorous work to get the things to final product release. Like the brick press, for example. I mean, yeah, we've got many prototypes. Machine works, fully automated. In terms
Hmm.
of setting up, basically documenting an enterprise, we haven't done that. But
Yeah.
that's another product development. We've got the product as the machine, but another product
Hmm.
is now the enterprise. Are you building machines? That's a whole deal, and certifications
Sure.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
all that stuff. And your background in business is what? What's your background?
Okay, so I've been an activist all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've done bits and pieces with social enterprise and studied some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly I haven't actually run a lot of businesses. I grew up with my dad being a businessman and just kind of have learned a lot about business. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I've recently gotten a large inheritance, and I'm keen to do some angel investing and help
Mm-hmm.
get cool businesses started. And Yeah, I like angel investing in small projects that
If you wanna
wouldn't be too expensive to get going, kind of thing.
if you
Um,
wanna angel invest, the bottom line here for our product is
yeah,
we've got the house at
yeah,
100% release. We're selling the house right now, right? It's
hmm,
on a market.
sure,
Each one
yeah,
of these adventures cost about $1 million. For the house, it was more. It was probably more like two or three. But
hmm,
if we're going to invest in developing the brick press to a turnkey enterprise that we can then franchise and produce on a regular basis,
hmm,
$1 million.
sure.
It
Yeah, I
takes,
don't have that kind of money.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
kind of,
it's more like yeah, yeah.
right, right.
I'm more like I could pay to get one of the liberators built here,
Yeah.
and I could also pay someone to start a business with it.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
hopefully be able to be rolling um, in terms of cash flow or whatever to make that work. But yeah, so it's more like yeah, we'd have to find jobs that would cover the costs
Yeah,
ongoing
yeah,
and so
yeah,
on.
absolutely. If
Um, so yeah, so it's much more like a small scale thing on my end. But but if we do that, then hopefully we could contribute back some documentation and all of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And just kind of prove that it's possible so that other people can do it too. Because
exactly.
I've been following your work for 15 years or something and loving what you guys do. It's amazing. And I've always been, I mean, yeah, 15 years ago when I was looking at it and I was promoting it a bit, I was very excited. And, at that point, you guys were, none of the machines were quite this ready or whatever. And I've just sort of come back to it and gone, oh my God, you guys did it. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Go, you guys. And,
Well, okay,
but why isn't anybody
hold
using
on.
it? Yeah.
When you say, oh, that's mulberries on my fingers. When you say we did it, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you've built the Liberator and it's working,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like you've got 10 or so other machines that are nearly there as well,
Yeah,
and or in varying stages of development.
exactly, exactly.
um, and and obviously there's still a long way to go.
Yes,
You've got, what is it, 25 or 50 machines that you want to do, and
50
um,
altogether.
it's super exciting, right?
Yep.
And yeah, and my activism is all about, uh, I want to create a system change movement, and I think what you guys are doing could be a really big part of that. And it's um, yeah, to me, I'm basically a movement strategist. I'm really interested in figuring out the um, how do we promote things well enough that they can actually get taken up? How do we do things in ways that don't create backlashes, and lots of different political stuff that isn't so relevant to this. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to. Like, I'm curious about your business model, and your promotion model or whatever, because it sounds to me like there's, um, you know, you guys are probably really good on the tech side of things, and I don't know what your. I mean, I've had a look at your model around the educational stuff and some of the stuff around the um, your intentions around building houses and making money out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But yeah, I'm curious how all of that's going, um, and maybe I can help you guys figure out
Oh
better
yeah.
ways of making that happen, because
So
it would be like, yeah, it just seems to me like it should be taking off more than it is,
yeah, it's a question of
based on.
execution. So starts
Yeah,
with product, and when I
yeah,
thought we had the product like the house, okay, apprenticeship, yes, floods of people.
mm,
No, we've got 2 people signed up so far. We're working
yeah,
hard to get house
yeah,
full. We're talking about September 1st. We'll see how many people we
hmm,
have, but it may or may not take longer. Okay, but
yeah,
what are we doing? So
sure,
develop an enterprise, and
yeah,
the latest is because it's with volunteer labor throughout our history, that doesn't take you there. You need people
yeah,
doing
no,
this full time.
yeah, totally,
Yeah, revolution is not a
yeah,
part-time job, so you need to fund
exactly,
people and
totally,
do that. So we
yeah,
develop a product and then develop an enterprise, bootstrapping enterprise around it. So the idea behind the Seed Eco Home, at the time of COVID, we switched to the Seed Eco Home. But the idea was, okay, we're doing all these steam camps, building 3D printers and other machines, and okay, that kind of stopped. We had to stop those kinds of workshops. In fact, I
mm,
was in New Zealand when COVID hit, and I
right,
almost couldn't get back to the U.S. But we migrated to asked ourselves, okay, if we want to have impact big time, what is the most
yeah,
important thing? And that's how we switched. Okay, let's do the house. We know the
yeah,
swarm build techniques. So at this point, what we have is a model where with 24 skilled people or trained people in the
hmm,
collaborative workflows, not skilled in the sense of craftsman expert, skilled more in terms of collaboration workflow and concept,
sure,
because by
yeah,
designing it a very simple way, you get to build it fast.
hmm,
And therefore, during the apprenticeship itself, the apprenticeship model is such that we build houses 2 days, and the rest
hmm,
3 days is school. But in those two
yeah,
days, that's still enough
sure,
velocity to get a
yeah,
house every 6 weeks. So there's your
hmm,
funding. So
totally,
each year we get to build about 6 houses. That's about 600K net after
hmm,
costs are considered. We pay our people, we pay stipends or work study. That's how it looks right now. And
okay,
then as we release, so that's why I mentioned $1 million. That's the reality.
yeah,
In the program itself, right now, we're actually devising 6 week modules. So just like modular everything, we're going to modularize
hmm,
this. So in 6 weeks, we do focused learning or development things. Like the first 6 weeks is going to be you're going to learn 20 trades. That's the focus.
sure, yeah,
Next 6 weeks, learn all the legal, um, engineering, getting through codes,
hmm,
certifications. Focus on that aspect, the legal slash enterprise,
sure, yeah,
including things like factory built modular home enterprise. That
Mm-hmm.
means just going through some paperwork and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we probably in a third. So we're devising what exactly are those 6 week cycles. The
Yeah.
third, we probably are going to get into either the CEB, sawmill, or 3D printing, all related
Yeah.
to materials production. So
Mm-hmm.
that if there's pages on the wiki, I can show you that the current 60K house cost gets reduced down to 20K. That's the goal.
Oh, cool.
That means, okay, if we do, the way we look at developing is, okay, let's get the, right now the current thing is, hey, right now we can actually get cheap stuff from China. And it's actually, the new idea is, okay, yeah, we've prototyped, we've done a lot of things. Let's actually use those machines as bootstrapping back to open sourcing production from China, because they've got it
Yeah,
all.
fair enough. Sure. Yeah.
So in a 6 week sessions, you organize a very dedicated effort, including remote collaborative design and subject matter experts, and some heavy equipment. Like, for example, if we're gonna do the tractor as a product release,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have the CNC torch table, CNC machining center, and probably the induction furnace and metal rolling. So we're actually using scrap and using PV to generate the raw steel for the tractor. So getting at that level,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of a curriculum, the
Yeah.
latest thought is in those 6 weeks, we can get close to a product release, like either like complete product release or close to it. That needs
Mm-hmm.
bodies, and I'm talking about 100 people on site. So do these
Yeah.
incredible design sprint kind of things,
Yeah.
focused for 6 weeks, with remote collaboration. So people who
Sure.
go remote, and there's like
Yeah.
1,000 people there. So that's the kind of model that we're going to develop as
Yeah.
part of the
Sure.
school.
Yeah. No, it's a great model. I wonder though whether, um, given that you're having trouble finding people for the apprenticeship,
Yeah.
um, I can imagine that you wouldn't have trouble finding people if you were offering paying jobs. Is that right?
No,
No, you
not
would still
really.
have trouble finding people for it, or you wouldn't.
We would,
Sorry, I'm
and
confused.
there's a
Oh, you
there's
would still
a
have trouble
culture
finding.
element.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that's a definite block. Now
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
just guessing, but it's not clear cut like that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I wonder. I reckon there's a lot of people who would be really interested. And
Yeah.
if, like say here there's something called the Ethical Jobs Network or whatever.
Yeah.
If you put up an ad for the kind of technical people that you need, on that, the kind of technical people, at least 10% of them would be super excited about what you're doing and would fucking love to come and work for you guys. And if the training could be part of, like the apprenticeship was part of
Yeah.
their training,
Yeah.
for the job, then I really don't think that you would have trouble finding people.
Agreed.
Um,
Who
yeah, and
was
and
it?
so
Ethical Enterprise Network.
yeah, it's a Australian thing. It's not going to be there, but something like that, like a ethical job network, or like
Exactly.
a place where you can advertise for ethical jobs, right? And there'll be something similar there. And the thing then I would say is if you can make 100 grand at each of these house workshops that you do, and you're doing
Mm-hmm.
6 a year,
Mm-hmm.
what if just for 1 year or something, instead of um, focusing as much of your energy as you do currently on your product development, you
Mm-hmm.
focused just on building houses and making money, and you just did however many of those you could do in a year instead of the 6 that you're currently doing, as a way to just make enough money to pay the people that you need for your product development. If you made instead, I don't know how many you could do in a year.
50.
Exactly. Okay, so you'd
5
make 5
million.
million in a year.
Yeah.
And then from, say, halfway through the year or even 3 months through the year, you could start hiring people who can help you do the product development faster, and also who could start businesses doing this in other places, themselves and be feeding money back to you guys,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you would be able to speed up what you're doing massively.
In the
And be able to pay people to do the promotional
yeah,
work and
yep,
that kind of stuff that's necessary too.
and I agree. I think our ideas are consistent. The idea is that first we need the integrated builders. So I don't know anybody who can do all the steps in a house build right now. That's why we're training
Mm-hmm.
them. That's part of
Right.
our
Fair
deeper
enough.
deeper
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
deeper chicken and
Fair
egg
enough.
problem.
Yeah. Okay.
But totally agreed. So say the first
Mm-hmm.
person,
Yeah.
Judy, she's interested in construction management. That's
Yeah.
how soon do we get her up and running
Mm-hmm.
with a crew?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
All right.
That's
Cool.
right on. And
Cool.
now we would say, okay, well, don't go off into a corner and work 5 days. Continue your
Mm-hmm.
training. So spend at
Mm-hmm.
least a day or two
Sure.
continuing your education, and maybe we could hire
Yeah.
some other people to help her. Now she's
Yeah.
got that program
Totally.
running, and then we're adding bodies to
Yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it, yeah, it sounds like you've probably got it planned. And if she's starting soon, and how long will the education for her take before she's able to start
Oh,
building?
she's signing up for the program, which means 4 years. But she told me
Right.
I hope it doesn't take 4 years. She wants to do it in 1 year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Totally.
think, but check this out. So
Yeah.
first six
Yeah.
weeks, we have built
Yeah.
3 houses. How good do we
Yeah.
get after that? Probably after about 6 houses, half a year, you
Yeah.
probably could start running crews.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
yeah,
Like, I guess. Okay. My question would be: it sounds like you already have. Um, you're already able to run crews and
no, we're not. I mean, we're
sorry,
not.
not run crews. I mean, you're able to run workshops and make money, right?
We're able to run workshops, and so actually, the interesting conversation here in house has been yes, let's actually do the builder crash course, the 2 week experience, which we've done
Yeah.
before, and now
Yeah.
perfecting it with all the interior finish and
Yeah.
trim. Run that
Yeah.
every 2 months. How
Yeah.
about that as our
Sorry,
funnel
run
for
that when? Every
2 months?
every 2 months. Why not run it every 2 weeks? Just for 3 months to make a bunch
We
of money
still want to.
and
Who's
be able to
training
hire
our
people.
people? I don't have the staff. I need
Yeah.
to
Okay.
get my people up to speed.
Yeah.
So the big deal,
I
we're
guess
leading.
if you did it for 3 months
Yeah.
and don't worry about training people for 3 months and just be doing that for 3 months, and then you've got a big pile of money that you can then use to hire people and be training more people and keep doing it.
We'd
Do you know
have
what I
to
mean?
have to put that on paper and
Yeah,
evaluate that carefully.
fair enough. I get that there's, it's a puzzle and you'd have to make it fit. But I guess I'm just suggesting that I think there would be a way to do it faster than what you're thinking about.
Given that it's
So,
hard work, I've been at it.
yeah.
Right now, I'm at the point. Now I'm gonna have to play the executive role where priority number one is multi-skilled people. That's the missing
Mm-hmm.
link right now. That we cannot
Mm-hmm.
buy, we cannot
Yeah.
hire. Mindset. Mindset is the question again. If we're hiring, how are
Yeah.
the people fitting in a culture that leads with moral
Yeah.
intelligence to
Yeah.
grit for world change?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you could find the people.
Yeah, we can. They can be
Yeah.
found. The question I would probably be availability. They're probably doing things, and the people who
There's
are not
always a whole
doing
bunch of people
things.
who are looking for jobs, and of the people who are looking for jobs, maybe 1% of them are the right people, but you'd get a whole lot of applications.
Yeah, no. I'm convinced that people are out there. The question then would be getting the word out properly. Right now, we're getting a video done. We're paying a lot of money for brand and video and some
Mm-hmm.
publicity for specifically for populating the apprenticeship. So we're
Okay,
working
cool.
on that. And yeah, and the website, it's out of control. We gotta get our website up. We were in the process
Yeah.
of migrating servers like a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago, so we
Yeah.
never got to the
Yeah.
site yet. and that's
Yeah.
going to come up pretty soon. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll go back to my other questions
Yeah.
about the uh, okay, so tell me about the the Seed Eco Home versus the CEBs.
Yeah.
Why did you switch?
Oh, the
Um,
seed eco home still survives as the seed eco home. Right now, we're building with it with stick. You can retrofit with block,
yeah, yeah.
so it's
So
modular. So you can do whichever technique. Now for CEB, you've got different
sure.
build technique, but yes, it will still be the seed
I
eco home.
guess I guess I'm asking what are the pros and the cons of
Okay,
the
for the
CEB home versus the stick home, and yeah,
stick home is available technology and off-the-shelf materials. For CEBs, you have the extra step. You've got to produce your block and have a
hmm
production operation. Second thing is we build in a 4x9 wall sections. One that's 4x9, it's human doable. We're designing our system to be human doable without any machines.
yeah,
Now, for block, it's just much more labor because each wall section, instead of weighing 150 pounds, it weighs 3,000 pounds. So
yeah,
you're talking about much more on the labor requirement
right,
and just the finishing
right,
techniques and codes. So you're talking about further legal barriers to that because you have to do a lot of
hmm
explaining.
hmm
So stick right now
yeah, okay,
is the easy route, easy
yeah,
entrance, and then move
yeah,
on to all the freaky stuff.
yeah, gotcha.
Already, the only thing we're doing that's freaky is all our houses come with PV, so 6 kilowatts and 12 kilowatts. So that's standard still within the budget.
Sure. Um, sorry, I'm just taking notes. Okay, cool. And what makes the Seed Eco Home so cheap and so fast?
Because we designed the house. We don't know of anybody else who designs a house. Architects don't design a house, they design a house concept. We design the whole house, including how the wiring, plumbing, HVAC, and everything goes together, including design for build. So workflow design at the initial design stage. Hence, we're able to get the price, our cost for 1,300 square foot, 3 bed, 2 bath is 120K, including labor. Industry standard is 180. So that's the bottom line. That's what we've discovered.
hmm
Not counting land or anything, just the build cost, materials, labor. We're at 120. Other people are at 180. Now, that's 1/10 of the story because we build them 10 times as fast. So we go through that cycle 10 times faster. So our business model can be 10 times as robust, pending the infrastructure to actually get that happening. It takes five. The goal is 5 days. Industry standard is 6 months.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Um,
I'm gonna take over the world.
and yeah, that's the goal. Liberate the world, not dominate the world. But
With open source modern
the
technology.
yeah. Um, so, and how do you do it in 5 days? Is that do you mean 5 days of putting everything together on site, or do you
We're
mean
talking
5 days of
everything, including
everything?
foundation,
Okay.
by swarm design. So 24 people
Ah, okay. That's why. Yeah,
choreographed,
yeah,
more fancy than a ballet. The idea is that people learn everything and how. First of all, modularity allows you to do it, work on multiple parts at the same time. You can
yeah,
prepare the modules ahead of time. You can do them in a
yeah,
workshop. You
yeah,
can do them on site.
yeah,
So the modular breakdown allows you to go really fast.
yeah. And how many of
And
those
it's a swarm,
24
it's
people
24.
need to be highly trained?
Well, highly trained, as in through our program, 24 of
Yeah.
those people can do it. If you give me people off the street, I believe, give me 6 leaders and
hmm
18 people off the street, we'll do it in about 10 days, I believe.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
have a person who doesn't know this, but they can learn on the spot, you'll probably do 15 days with a dedicated crew, a crew that has stamina. This is not easy work.
Okay. Sorry. Say that again. So if you have one person who isn't highly trained but is highly determined, and
I mean, first of all, it's
intelligent and all of that, and
first of
that
all,
person leads the other 23, you're saying
yeah,
you could do it in 15 days?
yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Um,
3,000 hours per house. The skilled crew is about 1,000
yeah.
for the 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,300 square feet garage PV slab on
Okay.
grade.
Okay. So that's where I'm sort of suggesting that someone like your what was her name, Julie, or somebody who
Judy.
wants to start Judy, who wants to start building ASAP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, even not her because she's actually willing to do the 4 years of training as well and go
She's
deep and
interested in.
get
She's a
really
learning
really
character.
good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but somebody who just wanted to start a business, like say I found somebody here who wanted to just start a business, be that one person who's highly determined and intelligent. How long would it take them to study your materials in the lead up to being able to run one of these 15-day builds?
I think that a capable person could learn at 6 months. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, cool.
1 year for a good person, 6 months for pretty extreme good person. So the
Okay,
outliers
cool.
would probably learn it in 6 months.
Yeah.
And it depends
And
at
if it
what
was
level.
somebody
Are
who
you?
already had building experience, like who
No,
was already a builder,
no,
would that make any difference?
yes. They'll know. They'll pick it up in a second. What we can
Yeah,
teach
okay,
them,
cool.
it'll be after one build. They'll know everything. They already know everything. What we are shifting is their
Great.
build technique
Yeah,
towards
okay, cool.
efficiency.
So okay, so if I found somebody who was a builder, like I've
Mm-hmm.
got a friend who's a builder. Um, I don't know if he'd be interested or not, but he might be. And I mean, he already runs a business doing other stuff, so I don't know. Anyway, um, I could find somebody who's a builder who's interested in doing this model. Um, how would they pick it up straight away? Would they do a workshop with you? Would they read a book worth of material that you've written
That's what I'm
before
saying.
they do their first build? What do you say?
We're starting the apprenticeship exactly for this purpose, so you can get on an enterprise track as
Sure.
well.
I guess, yeah,
And
you know,
and how does it
like
work?
I've been saying, I'm keen on the how do we do this fast and start making
Yeah.
lots of money.
So think
You
of it.
guys can make lots of money, and we can also make lots of money, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, think of it in
and be able to make cool stuff happen.
right. So builder crash course is 2 weeks. You can get insight into everything.
Cool.
You
Yeah.
go through the absolute everything in that house build, including two
Okay.
hours of
And
class
when's the
time a
next
day.
one?
Hmm?
Gotcha.
September
And
1.
when's the next one? Okay.
September 1.
Great.
It's the first 2 weeks
Right.
of the regular apprenticeship. So
Yep.
all our fellows, they're taking that.
Yep.
They're getting a head start
Okay.
and run these 6 week cycles of
Yeah.
topics.
Okay. Cool.
So we're
And
going to open, I mean,
and that's not booked out yet or anything. I could
no,
find somebody and send them over for that.
no, it's not
Okay.
booked out.
All right. Great.
The announcement isn't even
Cool.
up yet.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
We're going
All
to
right.
work to get that up
Great.
in the next couple of
Okay.
weeks
Cool.
with two
That's
weeks,
exciting.
2 months lead time.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Um, okay. And then, all right, I'm going to look into seeing if I can find somebody to send over and start a business here based um, on that.
You build with
That I
stick
think would be very cool.
in Australia?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think, yeah, it does sound like the CEBs are not as easy to get going. The question, I'm guessing the quality of the house is not as good as what you'll end up with CEBs. Is that right? Just in terms of insulation and airtightness, or
In
I mean,
terms
airtightness is
of
a separate thing.
the
Like insulation.
CBs,
Yeah,
the CBs have thermal mass, but you still have to insulate
yeah,
it.
that's right.
Now,
Yeah,
the advantage is it's tornado proof and bulletproof. I mean, it's a solid structure.
yeah, and fireproof.
Fireproof, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't get that from the stick.
yeah. Okay, cool. All right. And but yeah, maybe we can work towards that. I was going to ask also, are the soil pulverizer and the life track also ready to be used?
We can. Someone else? No,
Yeah.
we're not producing them, so someone would have to build them.
Well, yeah.
Fabricator would have to.
I mean, we're in Australia anyway. We'd have to build them here. But I more mean like, are they good enough to be used in a enterprise
The
situation?
latest
Or
one, life track version, it is good enough to
Mhm.
use. It's but we're not going to build that now. We're going to build the next iteration the next time around. So I wouldn't build it.
Sure.
I mean,
Okay.
if you wanna learn absolutely everything about it, yeah, but then come to our 6 weeks when we do the machines, and you learn how to
Yeah.
do that in 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, you get. Well, I mean, it actually took me 6 weeks to build, like 6 weeks to like build the actual first prototype.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there'll be part, but the difference between that 6 weeks and the 6 weeks now
Mm.
in the advanced collaborative global collaborative way is that we're aiming towards product, not a prototype.
Hmm.
So that's the big difference.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Okay.
Pulverizer, yeah, you could use that. That's an easy one.
Sorry.
The pulverizer, yeah, it's an easy one. You could build that.
Okay. Cool.
That works. We ran one on a
Cool.
we made ours, and we also ran them on bobcat on skid steers. So, yep,
Yeah.
all
Hey,
interchangeable.
can I? All right. And can I ask why don't the CEBs need curing time? Why can they go straight into the wall when every other CEB needs curing time?
No, you need curing time, but you have to redesign your building to allow for in wall curing. So nobody does that in the world, I don't
Right.
think. So this is
And how do you
innovation.
redesign
How do
your
you do it?
well
You
to
would
do that?
probably leave a
Well.
little where, so the block is going to settle about 3/4 of an inch if you build with raw block. So your walls are going to shrink. So as you're getting the house up, by the time you're finished in 5 or 10 days, the bricks are going to have cured and settled. So finish it off at that time. You're not finishing it off, nor are you putting in things like rebar to stabilize or anything which will catch it from naturally falling down to its natural state. So if a little gap opens up on top, you got to plug it up.
Hmm.
How do you do it? I don't know. You could do cement. You could fill it with insulation, whatever, like
Hmm.
expanding foam insulation or something like that. Um, uh, we have not done that.
Right.
We did. We did actually uh, in the houses that we did build raw from raw block that was pressed on the at the same time. There was a little bit of settling, so there's
Hmm.
like we got cracks, like 3/4 inch cracks in one of the old houses. They're fixable. The walls are still quite structural. But
Okay.
that's a way you get into, okay, this is free materials on the site. So that part,
Yeah.
I emphasize that because it's super critical if you're
Yeah.
talking about regenerative development.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
otherwise, are you trucking in your block from or stashing it? That's twice the labor. You're moving them twice.
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah.
difference. Twice or three times that you're moving the block as opposed to once. That's a
Yeah.
major game changer because those are,
Totally.
what
It's
is it,
very
like
cool.
50 tons,
Yeah.
50, 100 tons of block. You can't
Yeah.
get them on one trailer. You need like two trucks, two 18 wheelers if you were building a regular house. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're shifting that game by doing that. But nobody in the world that I know
Yeah.
of is doing that.
Hmm. Okay. And you guys haven't done it yet.
We've done it real time pressing, but with the settlement, we didn't use the proper techniques to settle it. We used the top plate, which kind of then collapsed just a little bit. If you design it so everything can sink without breaking your
Hmm.
house, that's just a design question, right?
Okay.
So you can't do things like, if you're gonna put, like, say, drywall inside, well, it's gonna shift on you and crack or whatever. Just make sure
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're designing it, whatever you're designing, it's designed for settle.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Or even just the fact that you're finishing it off. You lay the walls first. You need to
Yeah.
wait now 2 weeks before you move
Yeah.
in. But still, that's still
Yeah.
radical build efficiencies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're okay.
Totally. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that's going to need more experimentation. Fair enough. Um, and the eco seed build, have you, is part of that doing airtight wrap kind of stuff?
A what?
Like an airtight wrap, is that part of the design?
Airtight wrap. I mean, we use house wrap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's okay. Cool. I'm just
Yep. We got house wrap.
curious.
Mm-hmm.
House kind of stuff. Okay, cool. And if you were doing a CEB build, could you incorporate that as well?
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
gotta for wherever you are, whether it's tropics or
yeah,
humid or dry, you need to
yeah,
address the moisture. Where is it gonna condense? So you have to pay attention to that. That's one of the big deals.
yeah, yeah. So I'm fairly new to researching stuff about building. So my understanding is you'd want to have a waterproof wrap on the outside, and ideally also an airtight wrap on the inside. Um, that's sort of what I'm asking about. Are you incorporating both of those
Yeah,
into
I
it?
mean, there's you got to be watertight, but don't be so watertight that you don't have
Yeah, yeah,
air
vapor
motion,
permeable. Yeah,
right?
yeah, cool, cool. Um, okay, what are my other questions? Um, do you need to stucco inside on the sea base, or could you leave it as is? Or
It's up to you.
okay,
It's completely up to the user.
yeah,
If you're in production, people are
yeah,
not gonna like it. If you're doing it for
yeah,
yourself because you
yeah,
understand it, it's the most
yeah,
beautiful thing.
yeah, cool, cool. Um, and can they go multi-story?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
300 psi equals 300 feet.
Oh, that's right. I saw that blog post. Yeah. Um, and there's no cement in them unless you stabilize them. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Cool. Um, and how do you guys do licensing setup things if people wanted to run enterprises? What does your
We
open
haven't done it
source
yet.
license?
The
Okay,
open
right.
We haven't done it yet. However, the license would be we draw up terms, and ideally it would be an open source franchise where
Mm,
you tell me the terms. No, you have
mm-hmm.
to create it. This doesn't exist. So
Okay.
we want to do that for machines. We want to do it for the campuses, and more campuses than McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some licensing terms and some creative legal work.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. And so if I wanted to set up a business here, um, does the license that you currently are using
Mm-hmm.
prohibit people from starting
No,
businesses?
no, it's
Okay.
you. So open source allows you to
Yeah,
copy,
yeah, yeah.
modify, start a
No, I know.
business.
I mean, I know that there can be different levels or whatever. You can specify
If
whatever
you
you want
cannot
in the
run a
license.
business, it's technically not open source. It's fake open source.
Sure.
So there's, yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
it's not open source.
Okay.
Like for
So,
example,
so
uh, Tesla's stuff. It's not open source.
sure. Um, okay. So I guess what I'm getting at is we wouldn't technically need to do any extra legal work if we wanted to start a business
No, you
here.
can just go right ahead. The only thing that's required by the license is attribution, which
Yeah,
means you should attribute it.
of course. Okay, but if we wanted to, it could be good to set up a particular kind of legal setup or what
You
have you.
need some type of form, right?
Somewhat, sorry.
No, whatever your corporate form you choose, right?
Yeah. We would have to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant yeah, when you were saying that it needs to be created.
We have on a wiki. There's plenty of writing on that, so you can do stuff like open source ecology license for distributive enterprise. So we talk
Right,
about
okay. So you,
distributive enterprise, meaning that
yeah,
we encourage you to share, to
yeah,
so
cool.
this spreads.
Okay, great. Sorry, when I was asking what would be, sorry, I thought you were suggesting that the legal work that would be required would be in order to be able to run a business via you guys' license or
No, no,
whatever.
no. I mean,
Okay,
the future economy doesn't have a lot of this competitive waste. So
yeah, cool.
yeah,
All right, great. Um,
the bottom line is like we're the steward. If you don't
mm,
share, I'm gonna sue you. You know,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have
No,
other
sure.
things to
And I
do.
mean,
I have
yeah.
I have
If
new
we,
designs to create. Yeah,
yeah, sure. And like, my ideal would be that if we can run a profitable business, we would want to send some of the money back to you guys to help you keep on creating, um, and um, and be able to keep learning from you guys and have a good relationship and all of the things.
yeah. More valuable than money is the open design and
Yeah,
open know-how. Yeah,
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 sure. Yeah, cool,
yeah.
cool. All right. And so are there any businesses anywhere that are using any of your machines yet?
Not that I know of. There's one person who's building 3D printers, running a workshop actually in August. Um, Alexandria. Um,
Hmm.
Beyond that, I'm not aware of anybody, and that's one of the things. It's for me that's amazing because you can take this design. We've shown industrial productivity on a small scale. It's real, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, people, it's not enough creativity out there. The standard entrepreneurs. Here's the deal:
Mm.
standard entrepreneurs, they get scared of it. They see that if it's open, then they have no advantage, which is completely false. So therefore, they don't do it. Isn't that
Yeah,
funny?
sure. Yeah,
It's insane,
that's
but that's how
ridiculous.
the world works.
Wow. Okay. Crazy. Um, yeah, I mean, I do get it in the sense that, if we start doing something that's absolutely revolutionary, other people will start doing it too.
Of course.
And then we'll have competitors or whatever. But like, surely there would be enough, like, if what we do works well enough that we'll get competitors, then surely there would be enough demand to handle there being the competitors. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah,
the way I would
absolutely. I
think about it.
mean, start
Yeah.
with huge markets. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, because I mean there's
Yeah,
there's huge markets of people who need affordable housing.
yeah,
Like, it's
exactly,
just
exactly.
stupid.
Right, right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, great.
Yeah.
Um okay. And if I so with building the Liberator or any of your machines, so if I were to pay somebody here to make one,
Hmm.
do you know how long it might take them? Like what the labor involved is for the fabrication and the putting it together,
Depends on how
roughly.
good they are. I mean, we built the brick press with 12 people in one day. You know,
Sure. Yeah. And
it
that's
might take
including all the
you.
fabrication.
Yeah, it means all the cutting. Well,
Yeah.
in the current, at that point, it was where for that build, it was CNC cut steel. So you can get all the steel cut
Hmm.
at a CNC shop, and then it's
Yeah.
welding it together. Now the only thing is that person has to understand the controller and hydraulics. So there's two more skill sets there besides fabrication. So you might need a team.
Yeah.
Unless the person already knows controllers, microcontrollers, and hydraulics,
Yeah.
because
Okay,
you
cool.
can use any hydraulic power source like a tractor.
Okay. And
I mean,
the
if you've got a
CNC cut,
person working on it, like a solo person can probably build it in a week. I mean, I don't know, 40 hours,
yeah,
80 hours, something like that. I mean, it's at the point where we do swarms and we build these things in 3 days with in a workshop setting. So we've done several of those where people come here
yeah,
for, and then they take it home.
okay. And like when you say a solo person could build it in a week, is that including the CNC cutting, or is that with all of the CNC
Um,
stuff pre-cut?
it depends if you've got the CNC torch table in house, then yeah, it includes that too, in a sense that it only takes a couple hours to cut it.
Right. Okay.
I mean, that's the beauty of the digital.
Yeah, cool. All right.
If you're outsourcing, you got some lead time there. You get it a week or
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
ahead or
Great.
whatever.
All right, cool. Good to understand. Um, do you guys, what foundations do you do with the seed house or the CEB house?
So with
I'm
the
trying to figure out
yeah,
alternatives to concrete.
for the CEB homes, including this house I'm in right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's just stem wall foundations. For the
Mm-hmm.
new CEDIGA home, we've always done a slab on grade. Well, always done it. Yeah, I mean the three or four that we built, it's slabs.
Yeah,
No
okay. And the
basement.
stem wall,
The stem wall,
small, is that like a strip foundation? Is that
yeah,
what you mean?
yeah,
Okay, and that's
concrete.
concrete as well? Yeah, okay.
That works.
Um,
But look at
so
there's wood. You can also do wood. I mean, that's interesting because if you get treated lumber in this country, they allow treated wood foundations too.
really,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if they allow that here. Uh, so yeah, the cheaper foundations that I found here are like they're called Mega Anchor. They're probably called something else over there, but it's basically like a
Helical piers.
maybe yeah.
Yeah.
They're four posts on
Completely
different
works. Yeah.
angles, kind of thing. Yeah, um, and yeah, could you do something like that with the CEBs? You'd need some kind of strip to go over the top, I imagine.
Yeah. That's more. You're talking about a lot of lot of weight. So the piers
Yeah,
may not be the best deal for that.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
You could if your soil base is not stable, the piers would do it
Yeah.
in addition to that.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Um, okay, and then I guess another part of the question about the enterprise readiness of the um, machines, I guess would be around OH&S compliance kind of stuff. Do you know if they're how they're designed in that kind of way? Like if they're
What compliance?
here we call it occupational health and safety,
Oh yeah, OSHA.
OH&S.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess, are they designed to be used by people who know what they're doing and you're not too
No,
worried about it,
no.
or are they well
It's
designed in
designed
that
for
regard?
to. No, you have to design all the safety, and I mean,
Yeah,
if
cool.
millions of people are going to be using it,
Yeah,
you don't
great.
want to be killing
Yeah,
people.
cool. Okay, cool. Great.
No, that you
Just
have
wanted
to
to
take
check.
seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know if this Google meeting is about to run out. I know there's now a free. I don't know if you have. No, I started it. I haven't got anything set up. But if we get cut off, thank you so much. But if we
Yeah.
don't, I have a couple more
Yeah.
questions.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Or we can follow up on
so
email as well. Yeah, sure. No, I
yeah,
mean,
cool.
love to work with you. I mean, yeah, it's about
Yeah,
getting the enterprise off the ground. That's where we're at. But I
yeah,
like it that
awesome.
you said we arrived. It's true, but nobody noticed, and we're trying to correct that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
we need to do something about that.
Yeah.
It'd
We
be
need to
really
do
good.
something about that, please.
Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, the other project that I noticed of yours that looked really cool was the aquaponics
Oh yeah.
greenhouse
Oh yeah.
setup. And
That
I saw
is.
somewhere on a blog post or something
Oh
you
yeah.
saying ask us about the results of that. So tell me more.
if you got aquaponics and fish in there, with if you feed the fish, you can get a diet. If you eat fish and vegetables for your diet, that's enough
Mm.
food that can grow in an 800 square foot space. It's the most insane integrated kind of an operation. We're gonna integrate that also with biodigester work and closed loop water systems. Right now, it's you got
Mm-hmm.
the towers, you got mushrooms, we had chickens and things like that. I mean, the productivity rate, you're talking about 1,000 plants growing, so it's a business model where you can harvest 1,000 lettuces for, if you want to go with production enterprise, $1,000
Mm-hmm.
a month, and fertilizer is taken care of. You got to feed the fish. The only input would be fish food and something like that. But I mean, the productivity is insane. So it's a thing
Yeah.
where to get it to, so we did an amazing prototype, and now it's to productize it. We would definitely like to add it to the as a standard or optional feature to any of the houses. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also an enterprise opportunity too. I'm talking about
Mm.
800 square feet, $1,000 a month. You can be growing in
I
tons of
say that again.
vegetables. 800
You're
square
talking about
feet,
what?
because you grow in about 20 plants in the square foot space because they're vertical hanging towers. The
Mm-hmm.
productivity in there is $1,000. Like you say, you grow 1,000 lettuces in that per month.
Mm-hmm.
800
Mm-hmm.
square feet. That's production.
How
That's
big?
like
Yeah, I don't know how big that
80
is
square
in
meters.
square meters. Yeah,
80
right.
square
Yeah.
meters.
Yeah.
The towers,
Yeah, it's great.
20. I mean, think of, you got soil, and now you got 20 times that because you're using a full height,
Mm-hmm.
one to the ceiling of the greenhouse, and then 4 feet lower because you got fish there. So I mean, there's a lot of volume that you're just using effectively through the vertical means. And you
Yeah.
can do all kinds of crazy things like strawberries that are aquaponic. They do well. All kinds of other things. So it's a very exciting thing, and people that was a good workshop. That was pretty good.
Yeah, cool. And how much does it cost to build, do you reckon?
I would say like, I don't know, like 10, 15,000 or so. Um,
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, it's a structure, and then you got to do the ponds. But for ponds, like, so there's excavation work for ponds. But what I would consider, perhaps use IBC totes. Just get a backhoe and dig some IBC totes, which are like 250 gallons each. Get like four of
Mm-hmm.
them for 1,000 gallons. It's a lot of
Yeah.
productivity there already. Um,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it's like as cheap as you make it. Like, you can 3D print all the parts. If the way we talk about, so well, the idea here is that with the other parts of the equipment I mentioned, from 60K to 20K. So now, if say
Yeah.
you got a
Tell me
portable
about. I
high
was about to
production
ask about
sawmill.
that.
Hmm.
I was about to ask about that.
Yeah. I
What's
mean,
the how are you going
I
from
mean,
60 to 20?
well, think about it. So you got a mobile commercial grade sawmill.
Mm-hmm.
You spend in the United States, you can buy one for like 25K. In China, it will cost you like 10K or less, and you're producing $5,000, 4,000 board feet of lumber in 8-hour shifts. $4,000 of value per day. So basically, we're designing a whole system where if you get to about, say, 5K productivity per day, then the insane economy arises with absolute post scarcity kind of production level. So we're designing the thing. If you got the set, you got a village. If you could do, like, say, 5,000 net per machine, like $5,000 per machine per day, that's called absolute abundance. But if you think about it, so you run your sawmill for 8 hours, you save $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Does that fit in the business model? So you can actually add that extra labor into it? Yeah, it does. If you have the
Yeah.
workflows and processes worked out, so that you're designing this whole village economy, which is efficient. And the thing that kills it, of course, is if that equipment is not open source, because what's going to happen is that thing breaks and you're done,
Yeah.
because you probably
Sure.
can't repair it. So that's the thing we're
Yeah.
addressing. So now you fix that, and you got lifetime design, and you got zero marginal cost society.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Bricks, if you do the
and
brick
the
house, you're not paying for walls anymore. If you do, for
yeah.
example, so now let's burn rock. So, ha, Didn't get a chance to talk about burning limestone with 100 kilowatts of PV. You can make 5 yards of concrete. I think it was per week or such, but enough to produce whatever you need for a single house in about 1 week.